everyone, it's Ashley. Today I am doing a scrap lifting challenge that we're doing at Coco Daisy called Lift Me Up. So I was sent my sort of like a chain scrap lift process. We're in 2 teams. I was sent my photo. I got it early this morning. My kids are all home on March break, so I'm going to try to do this today to get it. So hopefully Team Pink, that's me and the other Daisy girls, will overcome Team Blue. Okay, so I made this background the other night. I'm thinking about using it because the layout that I received from, I think, Olivia has a gray background. So I'll have to make backgrounds and don't use them. So I think it's going to be a good opportunity to use it. I've grabbed some photos. I don't have a plan other than to try to get this done in one day. We will see. Okay, so these are some photos from January of last year, mostly of Ruby Sky. A few in there of the other girls. So if I want to use this gray background, so most of my photos she was wearing this purpley pink sweater, and I don't really like, purple's a hard color for me to scrap with, and I actually don't use dark gray or black very often either, so even though I kind of like the color photo better, I think I'm not going to use it because it's just going to be too hard for me, and I just don't feel like making 2 things that I don't normally work with, dark background and the color purple. I don't feel like making them work today. So when I look at Olivia's page, I see she's used 2 photos. It looks like a small one, little detail, and then a 4x6 it looks like. So I like this photo. It's an Instagram shot, and Ruby Sky just like one day turned around and she'd like disappeared up the stairs, and I just like grabbed this photo. She just like zoomed up there. I didn't even know she could really climb stairs at that point. So, but I don't like that background. But I'm going to leave it out in case I want to change the background. So if I'm thinking about using a small photo and a 4x6, I could use some of these sort of portrait style pictures of Ruby Sky. Maybe those 2. But they're really dark on the background, and the grays are so different than the gray. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's see. See, Olivia used some book pages. I also love book pages, so we'll see if this is going to help. Oh, but then that covers up all the gray, doesn't it? So I'm not super convinced. I'm loving the gray on gray, and then the book pages are covering it up too much, so maybe that will work. I'll try trimming the photo and see what I think. I usually like to trim these Instagrams with my like zigzag or maybe a scalloped edge scissor, but this one I'd put a frame on it before I printed it, and when it has one of these printed frames around the photo, I tend to just cut them out square. I just find it a little bit too much with the sort of distressed frame and the zigzag. And then whenever I cut out anything, I always just scuff up the edges just a little tiny bit with either Making Memories distressing tool or the edge of my scissors like this, or the Tim Holtz distressing edge distressor. I think it just helps take away that sort of scissor cut look. Some people like to ink, I like to scuff. So I do like the color photo, I think, better than the black and white photos, so I'm going to put those away for another day. Okay, so I got my background paper down to 8.5 by 11, because that's just what size I've been enjoying scrapbooking lately. I left it as 12 by 12 because I thought this picture, a lot of the other pictures I have from the same time are 12 by 12, but I'm going to have to mix layout sizes anyways, so it doesn't really matter what I use now or later. Okay, and I grabbed some vintage fabrics because I remembered that we're supposed to use something not scrapbooky. So I got some tulle, some muslin, and then an assortment of vintage fabrics that I bought on Etsy from Citron Fair, which is run by the amazing Tara Anderson. And then I also have a whole bunch of these remnants from someone we knew, and she used to make her own clothes when she was a young woman back in, like, I don't know, the 50s or whatever that was. So she gave me all her remnants a while ago that she'd kept for all those years. So I thought I might like to use some of these on the page to kind of brighten things up. Okay, so my first thought was to use this piece because I like the colors in it, and I just love the style of vintage floral prints. So I kind of like that. Okay, then I have a few other bits and pieces. There's a bow and a metal piece by Basic Gray, and I made this little tag a while ago using some of these fabrics. And I have some book pages. Which I kind of like layered in there. And what else do I have? I'm not really sure where I'm going with this layout right now. I thought about kind of, because you can't see her face, it's cut off by the stairs, and there's this sort of directionality to the photo that kind of goes up this way and that way. So I thought about sort of doing an arrangement of a whole bunch of little bits and pieces up to kind of carry that direction around. So I went through my Cocoa Daisy kits and I found a whole bunch of little flares that say stuff like, let's go, adventure is here, go. And I found this pointy finger in my stash, a little heart, a speech bubble. It just seemed to fit the color and the sort of theme, and this little gold bow. Oops. Here's a light bulb, paper clip. I found this star on my desk. I found these little tags on my desk too. Okay, since I made this kind of chalkboard style background, I thought I'd like to do a little bit of stamping kind of around this cluster of embellishments. So I pulled out some stamps. There's this new stamp I recently bought that I haven't used yet by Prima. It does some labels and some little kind of ledger notation like things on it. This set by Teresa Collins, because I like this recorded little swirly kind of vintage image. This one has a little number 3 on it, and she's the third kid, third little girl in our family. So I thought that would be kind of cute incorporated in there somewhere. And this is a Christmas set, but I really like these sort of hand-drawn laurel leaf things. So I got some Versamark, and I grabbed white embossing powder and this gilded ivory. And I don't really want it to be gold. I kind of want like a white chalky kind of look. So I'm thinking about using this white one, the Zing white, and then sprinkling just a little tiny bit of this around. And hopefully it doesn't look terrible. Alright, so I'm going to do that. Okay, so I'm just going to use a few pencil marks in here to kind of give me an idea of where these embellishments are going, so I kind of know where I want the stamping to go. So I just want this image, I just want a little bit of it in here, so I only inked up just that part of the stamp so that I could see I didn't ink the whole thing. And I'm going to try to just press kind of only that side down, just to fill in that little space. And I don't want the complete image, I just want little bits and pieces, sort of a little tiny bit faded and incomplete. And I'm just doing each image, embossing each image one at a time, just to kind of see how it all
Okay, so I've put everything back. I like the way that this little bit of stamping and heat and embossing balance out that side, so it's balanced but not perfectly symmetrical. I really like that. Every time I put the stuff down, it ends up down a little bit differently. I'm okay with that. I normally grab a photo with my phone when I want to make sure I get something as close to exactly the same as I can. I didn't this time. I'm videotaping, so I could go back and look at it, but I don't know, I don't think it's any better the way I remember it than it is now. So I'm pretty happy with it for the most part. I feel like it needs a few little more tweaky things. Like, I don't know if this is maybe too much. Maybe I should just tuck them in there. Alright, so I have a little container, some bits and pieces that I pulled out that I thought I was going to use. I thought about using on this page. I'm just going to try out a few other things and see what I think. Right, so I set down this little wreath that I cut with my Cameo, and I put that little tag with the fabric scrap on top down there. And I'm going to try some photo corners because I feel like it's almost impossible to go wrong with a photo corner. They just add such a nice little bit of emphasis, but kind of in a subtle kind of way. So I like these just plain paper ones. Sometimes I use glittery ones or pattern paper ones. But sometimes when there's a lot else going on the page, it's just nice to use something a little bit plainer. Okay, and I don't normally layer things over my photos, but in this picture down here, this was, like, I took this with my cell phone as I was running together saying, "No, you can't climb the stairs." So it's not a great picture, but it's a funny little memory. But this is her bib, her bright pink bib, on a little bookshelf there, and I kind of want to cover it up because it's one of the brighter things in that picture, and I feel like it really detracts from it. And I guess I could have, I don't know, edited it out or something, but I didn't. So there it is. I don't have a title for this yet. I was thinking about leaving it without a title, but I don't really do that very often. Or maybe never even at all, I don't know. These might be too busy, but I like that they're dark. Okay, so I added the title across the bottom and I just layered it right over the tag, and I ended up using both sides or both sets of these October Afternoon Daily Flash letter stickers. I don't often do matchy titles, but I think in this case, because there's so much else going on all over the page, that the two different fonts that kind of match the rest of the page is enough. And I like that their chalkboard sort of color
stickers, but they're not like chalkboard stabs. I feel like if they had been chalkboard writing or something, it would be kind of like too much. So I think this page is pretty much done. I'm going to write the journaling and I'm going to glue it all together.